Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we're going to explore shadow angles on muscle and face composition. So if we are to draw, let's say we are going to illustrate a person in action throwing a sort of a pose, throwing a punch, or let's do with a punch for now. So there's the delt, traps, head, essentially looking, I guess this way would be fine if we put a separation right there. It should work. Conventional eyes. And of course we would have the conventional mouth. Generic is more like it. Put in the mullet. And of course, as we always maintain, we can change elements as we go along. There's the ear. So neck with a little bit of turn like to this way. Delt going. And we want to say show a magnified punch like that. So there's some foreshortening in there. Throwing in the routine knuckles, the thumb. There's a hint of the forearm, and backward, hint of the upper arm going into the delts, and going into the pecs. And then of course the bottom of the hand there, and right, and we're just going to like stop there and see if we can explore a little bit of this. So what we need to do is highlight the face a little bit. And as we know that when we are doing punching and exercise like that, it's not really happy hour. So there will be a grimace and not necessarily a smile. Unless it's one of those modeling endeavors where they show a person training and cracking a smile. Not realistic, but we do see it. Essentially what we are working with is, as we mentioned, shadows. Now we have other videos in which we focus on the aspect of shadows. And you could check those out as well, because some of them might be quite helpful in determining particular angles. So let's have the light source here. So a light source is hitting this way, so which means that everything from going the other way is going to fall into shadows. And we have done this quite a few times, that we have highlighted a part of the face in darker, more imposing shadow and light source. So absence of light versus light. So in this case, it's like pitch black on this side, and that is, perhaps we should have mentioned that from the outset, because that is our exercise today. So right around the eyebrows, I guess there would be cast shadows right there beside the nose. So what we have to imagine is that this part of the face will for sure be encased in one way or the other in shadows. We could even make it like pitch black right through. And then right around the chin there, we could perhaps start compromising certain elements as we start moving toward the light. So this would also be for sure, depending on what kind of vein structure a particular neck is packing, but it would definitely fall in shadow. A little bit there, somewhat going into the ear. And then of course, depending on how deep a person's, how should I put it, how deep the features are, the shadows will be cast accordingly. And then of course, let me get a thicker marker here. This part for sure. Right around here, the peck, because it turns inward, so a shadow cast there. Perhaps a little bit here, depending on how deep the traps are going into the neck. Now, if it was a pop culture drawing, oh yes, we could just go all out. And this is sort of a pop culture drawing, but not necessarily through and through, because in pop culture we can go all out when we are putting in the tones and we're putting in the muscle details. Like around the neck, you might recall seeing somebody like Thor or somebody like the Hulk pack a whole lot of veins. And so there's muscles within muscles, and there's veins within veins, and it's very common to see it. It's become common practice to see the artwork being portrayed that way. Okay. So right around here as well, we will leave a little hint of the, should have taken a thinner point there, but okay. So we fill in somewhat like that and fade out coming toward here, and maybe turn a bit of the crosshatch like that way. Start fading it out and leave all that in the desolate pitch dark. Now, here under the arm, it's our choice. Either we could do sharp tones like through and through, or we could use certain Like for instance, like fade out here, fade out under the vein, put in some striation there, some muscle striation, essential for more muscle packed figure. We're just packing in the, actually we'll grab the thick one for this again. So let's say we were able to see the arm. Most likely in a light source it won't appear exactly like that, but it might as well be, because sometimes, I mean, with the slightest movement the light source switches. And now here, very essential to just clock in some tones right there. Throwing in some tones into the lower part of the forearm there. And we'll grab a thicker marker, a thinner marker here, and just put in some finger lines, and perhaps just put in a hint of knuckles right there. Okay, so we would essentially just keep the crosshatch at a minimum if we want. And that is how the shadows would generally land in this, for this type of a posture. Now we could have made it like more dynamic and had more what we call, we could have had more action infused into this drawing, but it is not a necessary exercise, because we have nailed the chief elements that we need to in this particular drawing exercise. So we're just putting down a head of hair very quickly, and also letting it partake of the shadows and the tones. And there we have it. So definitely this whole thing can be improved with crosshatch, and we can always keep on enhancing the details, but that is again left for us to decide how we would like to proceed about the exercise. So we put out content every day, so please do subscribe, keep in touch. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.